App Planning for Success. Brought to you by Software Accelerator Playbook. On Instagram at S.A.Playbook. Hello and welcome to the podcast. Today we're talking about what it feels like when you're spinning your wheels and what to do about it. So let's unpack this a little bit. The idea is that, you're moving forward, you're excited, you got an idea, you want to, kind of flesh it out, and then at some point you feel like you hit some sort of wall, right? You've kind of gone as far as you can go, or, you've planned out as much as you can plan. But there's more there that needs to be done, but you're just not sure what and how to get there and what to consider. It's almost like you want to make a recipe, but you don't even know what the ingredients are. You've seen the finished thing come out of the oven before, so it's possible that it can be made, but you don't know what the ingredients are and you don't know the way to make it. And so when you're feeling like this, what's really, really helpful is to clarify, what's missing, and you may actually not even have the words for, I need exactly this, because you haven't been through the process before. But the idea of what kind of outcomes you want to happen are things that you can design even without that technical knowledge. Right, so as you are, basically, coming up with your plan, strategizing the best way you know how, and kind of filling out the information the way that you can. Think about the outcomes you want people to have. Think about the decisions that people need to make along the way. And keep in mind that as people flow through an app, you can have kind of different methods of getting them to the finish line. Some apps are more open and will allow people to go lots of different directions, and then some apps are more process oriented, like step 1, do this, then once you've done step 1, now you can go to step 2, then you can go to step 3, etc. So it's like kind of walking people through, do this, then do this, then do this, then do this. And that can be really beneficial to help people have success. And even if you don't have, a full, technical knowledge as to how to, actually build it in code, you can at least start working on trying to define what's going on here, and get really, really clear in terms of, first they need to make this decision, then they need to make this decision. If you have people make 17 different decisions on one page, what happens is that people get overwhelmed. There's too much to do. There's too much to click. There's too much to learn when it comes to opening a new app and just realizing, oh my gosh, there's a lot going on here. I'm kind of overwhelmed. Maybe I'll leave and come back and do it later. Versus if you keep it really simple and you have them decide just only one thing on one page and then go to another page, then you're really kind of breaking it down into these bite-sized pieces. And this work, breaking it down into these steps, is absolutely needed as you move forward. Now, does it need to be translated into technical documentation for developers to understand? Yes, it does. And that is, that's an important thing to do too. But if you're feeling stuck and you're like, I think I can do more, but I'm not sure exactly what to do, think about the decisions that people are making and how many decisions you have them making. If you do have a page already where they're making 17 decisions, how can you hack away at that and get that down to 1 or 2 decisions? That will help people have more success, because there's a limited amount of things that they can do then. They can either, do, the one thing that you've asked them to do on this page, or they can go back or forward. It's very simple. It's not like, I could go 17 different directions. And not only will that help them have more success, it will also help you get the product out the door, because you're simplifying the product. So then instead of, all these different buttons and all these different functions on all these different pages, you're simplifying actually what needs to be made, which then will actually save you money in development, save you money in planning, save you money in testing, save you money across the board. So it's not just, it's not just only for them to have success. It also helps you to get clear on that stuff and make a more simplified process. Now, the difficulty here is that if it's not, if it's too simple, too simplistic, then for some things that need to be done, maybe it needs to be a more robust process where there's more inputs or more things to change, etc., etc. And so, okay, I understand that within all sorts of different systems, different amounts of choices are required. But the idea here is that as you are sitting there trying to really kind of nail down what am I doing and how am I doing it, if you can see clearly what decisions people are making, kind of like a decision flow chart, if you will. First they make this decision, then they make this decision, then they make this decision. We know this on this page, and then we go to the next page and we find this next thing out, or we filter down, the options on the next page, or whatever it is. You're kind of thinking through how the person will flow through the app and the process with which they will get to the desired result. What is the desired result? What is the finish line for them? Where are they going? What does success for them look like in your app? And so as you start nailing that stuff down, or at least doing at least a thought exercise on, what is success for my people when they come into my app? What is the place that I want to get them to? And then what's the required steps for them to get there? Either I'm going to let them kind of have a free-for-all and kind of figure out their own method to get there, or I'm going to design a system that helps them figure out one thing, zip tie it, meaning, that it just ratchets down one, and then you're not going back. So it's not like this endless amount of decisions to make. It's the idea once you make the first decision, it's like a zip tie where you click and then you're not going backwards. You can only go forwards, which is fantastically helpful when you're trying to help people have success. That it feels great to make a decision. Okay, great, that's done. Now I have less to do, and you're getting them towards that finish line, just one decision at a time. And you'll see this with apps all the time, by bigger companies, that they spend a lot of time trying to really narrow down what's possible. And sometimes it's frustrating because you maybe want it to be more robust, or you have to go to a computer to do, kind of more in-depth things. But ultimately it's helping more people get to the finish line because they've designed the process for you. And then you just need to focus on one little piece of it at a time. So when you're designing the system, when you're thinking about what you want your people to do, the same thing goes, where you're trying to think, how do I get people to the finish line, and how many steps do I need to break it up into in order for them to feel like they have a light decision to make on each page. And so, even before you're getting into the technical, how do you store the data? When do you store the data? All that nonsense, which, probably you want to work with somebody who's experienced in that in order to do that. You can still think about and plan out the decision tree that people are making. First they make this decision, then they make this decision, then they make this decision. So I hope this is helpful. Now, if you're looking for help with planning your app, if you feel like you're overwhelmed and there's a lot going on, and you want some help refining down your vision into an actionable plan, narrowing your focus, and avoiding obstacles in development, please send me a message on Instagram and get the conversation started. It's instagram.com/S.A.Playbook, and just click send message there and send me a message, and we'll chat, and I'll let you know if I can help you. Thanks for listening. Talk to you tomorrow.